my first experience with poetry was actually in the sixth grade. I was in Mr. Clifford's English writing class, and the assignment was to write a poem. Being in the sixth grade, very young, very new to poetry, I wrote a poem about a girl I had a crush on, Lena Capice at the time, and the class really liked it, my teacher really liked it, and I was just like, wow, poetry's pretty cool. It's about the words, you know what I mean, and making those connections. And I often feel with other writers that, or I guess the magic of writing is, especially with poetry, is being able to find the right words to say exactly how you're feeling. And you know, you often hear a line where you're just like, I wish I had said that, or how did you know that's exactly how I feel? If I've ever written a love poem, then like that was a piece of my life. I was writing about the girl that I really had strong feelings for at the time. If I was writing about my sadness, then I was, you know, trying to dig into, you know, like I guess like the stresses in my life and unearth them and understand them. So I mean, inspiration really does come from anywhere. And contrary to the plethora of stereotypes about me and my people, I haven't lived up to many of them. My parents, you know, full of love and passion and hard work, you know, made it a point to get myself and my brothers out of those neighborhoods and into Brookline. And I spent about a decade in Brookline, you know, around that neighborhood. And that's a very, you know, people like Brookline was voted one of the best towns in the country a few months ago. You know what I mean? Like it's a great place, but in Brookline, I was one of the few black people in a predominantly white space, and I did have an interesting experience in that because my identity was often being called into check, or called into question rather. Being called an Oreo was a common thing from 7th grade through maybe junior year, you know what I mean? It's being the black kid who liked, you know, punk rock music and liked to skateboard and anime just didn't add up to, you know, the baggy jeans, backward hat wearing black kids that, you know, so many of these kids were used to seeing on TV. And that provided an interesting conflict because I was often questioning who I was, and it frustrated me because I always, you know, like I just knew that it was wrong, that they had no real place to question that in me, because as white people, who are you to tell me what black is, you know? And as I got older and into college, and really, I would say in a way, my awakening as a conscious black person who's far more conscious of the racism and the disparity in this country has come to light in recent years, with just so much of the coverage of the police brutality that's been happening all over the country. And that really popped the bubble for me to realize that, you know, I grew up in Brookline. That was the bubble, you know what I mean? Like the extent of my like racial injustice was kids cracking jokes because I liked to skateboard. In 2010, 6 black teenagers drowned in the Louisiana Red River. Researchers found that 70% of black people do not know how to swim, that black kids are 3 times more likely to drown. The question became, why do blacks possess the fear of water? I've heard sharks followed slave ships, crossing the Atlantic Ocean, trailing black bodies thrown overboard. I've heard during slave times, white masses refused to let blacks learn them to swim because a swimming slave could get away, could swim to freedom, could figure out a way to wade in the water. I heard little black boys ain't nothing but gator bait. Gator bait let you catch an alligator so big, so vicious, it bite like racism. Black mamas be like, keep your kids out the water. It ain't safe, child. I heard a Jim Crow North and a Ku Klux South kept coloreds out of public swimming pools and off
public water fountains. I heard they hose niggas down with a firefighter water hose like you hose down a rabid dog in the summertime heat in New Orleans. I heard come hell or hot water, they were gonna watch niggas drown in a hurricane down south. Heard they knew the levees was gonna give in and break. Knew the waters was coming to wash niggas away. Tell me, how does a nigga keep their head above water if niggas can't swim? Niggas can't doggy paddle, niggas can't tread water, niggas jump but never jump in. I sprint, you swim. We don't float cause our bodies too dense. Niggas don't fuck with the rain cause our hair just got did. I heard yesterday in Detroit they cut the water off. I heard the water don't run. I heard the faucets run dry. I heard kids are dehydrated, but niggas is thirsty. I heard we've been gasping for air, been drowning in oppression for what feels like forever, ever since crossing the Atlantic. Been feeling lost at sea, been feeling like a fish out of water, like a body sinking in the deep end, like treading troubled waters and drowning.